I think we talked about this a little bit a few episodes ago about the sushi terrorism.
It was pretty big last month, right? In February.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was what happened there? Some was it? It started off with like one guy on social media posting himself of licking a soy sauce bottle at a sushi conveyor belt. That was at Kura Sushi, and that went viral. And then kind of after that, like more and more people started copycatting, and there's some pretty sick stuff going on.
Yeah, people kind of licking their finger and then touching the sushi that comes by on the conveyor belt. So yeah, people who don't, I think everybody kind of does know, but kaiten sushi or kaiten zushi is conveyor belt sushi. It's really popular in Japan. I kind of feel like Japan might be one of the few places that actually has it. Other countries that have it might have copied it from Japan. But yeah, the sushi kind of comes by on a conveyor belt. There's usually chefs either in the middle of the conveyor belt area or out in the kitchen, and they put the sushi on the conveyor belt, and it kind of comes past, and you can take food off of the conveyor belt, or you can actually place orders for stuff that you specifically want as well. But yeah, there's people licking the soy sauce bottles, people licking their fingers and touching some of the products that are coming by, licking the teacups. What else? Some people putting cigarette butts in the communal ginger that's usually left at the table.
Yeah, there was one person who was like putting wasabi on another dish and like switching them around, and like licking a piece of sushi and putting it back on. Yeah, terrible stuff.
Yes, but now apparently like some arrests have been made, and some stores are starting to fight back, right?
Yeah, there was another person where like kind of people, regular Japanese public, were just so like disgusted about it, and some people even afraid of going back to kaiten sushi restaurants. I was a bit apprehensive, but then I've never actually taken sushi from the conveyor belt and eaten it. Yeah. I've always like ordered it, like written it down on paper, and even if I don't write it down on paper, I would just say to the sushi master, "Can I have this?" And then they would make it fresh. Yeah. So I've never taken anything off the actual conveyor belt before.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, sometimes I used to, just because it was kind of like part of the fun of going. So, see it pass by. Not really the expensive stuff, because they don't usually put a lot of expensive stuff on the conveyor belt, but just some of the, tuna salada, or what else, like some of just the salmon or chanchan-yaki.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you should do, because, like you said, it's a part of the experience, right? But I always just thought, like, how long has that sushi been there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, sometimes you can tell. It's kind of like started to turn dark colored and stuff,
Sweaty.
Yeah,
exactly. Building up.
Yeah, but have you been back? I've been back to Kaiten Sushi since all this broke out.
Yeah. I went, we went a couple of weekends ago to our favorite Nagoya Kate.
Is that where's that? Down by your place, or is it downtown?
That's like near our area. It's kind of out of town. It's a chain one. I think they have 2 or 3 maybe in Sapporo, but it's kind of like a big one with a big car park and really good sushi. A lot of variety there.
What is the kind of store layout? Because some places, especially like some of the famous ones here in Sapporo, like Hanamaru, you've got the nice area right in the middle that the conveyor belt kind of goes around, and all the chefs are right there. All of the fish is there with them, and they're preparing sushi, just like you said. They're screaming and passing stuff out. Is that kind of the layout there?
Yeah. The Nagoya Kate is kind of similar. Like it has a similar feel to Hanamaru. Like everything's like wooden and dark, like that. It's kind of like dimly lit. All the chefs in the center shouting things to each other all the time. And then every now and then, like, they'd ring a bell and there'll be like a special coming out, like, oh, special ikura, who wants it? And they'll put it on, and there'll be like 3 or 4 limited editions only. And then someone like raise their hand, oh, I'll take it.
Yeah, it's really fun. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like when they do that. Yeah, and it's like, it's all part of the experience, a bit of an entertainment. They kind of make it feel like a bit of a market, like you're actually eating at the market with fresh fishes just come in and
like
stuff.
Like an auction.
Yeah, you walk in, they're all saying, "Irashaimase," stuff, So And yeah, it's all really fun. Did you notice any differences at what is it, Nagoya?
Nagoya No,
Nagoya.
I didn't. Yeah, it seemed like when I went there, I kind of forgot all about the news
Oh,
about
really?
this sushi terrorism stuff. They hadn't made any changes. I
Oh,
think
really?
for some reason, yeah, there was no like new rules. It was still like all the sushi was coming out. They didn't have as much fresh sushi on the conveyor belt. They had like a lot of kind of signs, but they still had them. Maybe not the expensive ones.
Oh, yeah. So a lot of places now they're kind of just putting the picture of the sushi you can order onto the plates instead of actually having the fresh sushi out there, right? We went to Sushiro in Parco actually, and Sushiro was one of these kind of chain restaurants that had some of these incidents happen at their stores, and yeah, Sushiro's. I wouldn't say it's definitely not a high end place, but it's kind of definitely good for children. So I noticed right away there's no soy sauce dishes at the table. So I was like, how are we supposed to eat our sushi with soy sauce? So yeah, they just so we actually called the waitress, and she came, and my wife was like, where are the soy sauce dishes? And she was like, oh, you're just supposed to put it on the plate. And she wasn't even very polite about it, which is a little off-putting as well. But yeah, whichever plate that that your sushi comes on, you're supposed to pour a little soy sauce on that plate.
Ah.
Or like, I guess, take one of the used plates and just use that as your soy sauce plate.
Oh.
Because they're no longer, at least at Sushiro, putting out little soy sauce plates because of all these, disgusting scandals that have happened at the stores.
So they've ruined the culture of eating sushi at the conveyor belt.
Yeah,
place.
I'll
No
admit,
more dipping.
it felt a little ghetto,
Yeah.
Like we don't even get soy sauce
So
plates
they'll
anymore.
still have the regular sushi dish. I mean, like the dish where the sushi's on, and you use that dish to put your soy sauce instead.
Exactly, yeah. And on top of that, like, yeah, there's no sushi coming around on the conveyor belt. Only pictures of sushi you can order, which also felt very ghetto, and other advertisements for different products and stuff. But yeah, everything you ordered was on the tablet that was at the table, and it was delivered on that upper conveyor belt, and which is pretty annoying because it's just a lot of those, everybody's getting their sushi that way instead of taking out the conveyor belt, and when that thing comes to your table, like sets off this alarm and tells you to take your sushi, so you just hear everyone's like alarms going off constantly.
So they've gone pretty hard out.
Yeah, well, they were one of these places that had like their, what was it? Their stock price started to fall because of all these scandals and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's no soy sauce dishes at the table. All the cups for tea, which are also usually kind of come around on the conveyor belt, and you take your cup off to make your green tea. Those were all placed up high next to the table, also near that upper conveyor belt. There was no shoga dish or what was it called, shoga or ginger dishes at the table. You had to ask for that as well.
Did you ask for some? And then they would bring
They would bring
box
some that you
over?
could use. Yeah. So it was like and some people have mentioned it, that these new measures that we'll talk about that they're doing to kind of fight the sushi terrorism is now kind of ruining the experience for a lot of people for conveyor belt sushi.
Well, Nagoya Kate hasn't done any of that yet, which was quite surprising.
That's probably where we'll go back. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's one of these places that didn't suffer a drop in their share price, so they didn't feel obligated to try and show that they were doing something.
Kura Sushi, who was the biggest victim of the sushi terror, and they've installed like an alert system with sensors and cameras.
All the AI cameras.
Yeah. So if a person is caught returning a plate that has been tampered with, an alert will be sent to the chain's offices in Saitama Prefecture.
Yeah.
And then the affected restaurant will also be informed. And then probably all the records will be sent and maybe sent to the police or something.
Other measures they've been doing is that they bring new condiments, such as soy sauce bottles, each time a new customer comes in to sit down. So they're sanitizing the bottles and stuff. And looks like life at Kaiten Sushi is changing quite a bit because of everything that's happening.